Now, the Meteorological Services Department has allayed fears that the forecasted tropical storm Filipo that is currently in the southeast coast of Mozambique will affect Zimbabwe. The department say that the storm will not cause any damage in Zimbabwe as it is expected to only bring some winds and moderate rain. In a weather update on Monday, the Met Department say that the tropical storm resulted in thunderstorms in the Mashonaland provinces, with Guruwe receiving the highest rainfall of 36 millimeters, while the rest got 15 millimeters. We're now joined by the Meteorological Services Department Chief Forecaster James Goma to give us an update on Tropical Storm Filipo. It's a very good evening to you, James. What's the latest in terms of the threat index regarding Tropical Storm Filipo that is sweeping into Zimbabwe?
In terms of this tropical disturbance, it started off as a small low pressure system and only enlarged enough to a tropical storm, which is far less than a tropical cyclone. So it made landfall over the southern parts of Mozambique as of this morning. And because it made landfall, it ceased to be very significant. When it makes landfall, it starts depositing all the rainfall in that area. And for instance, in Beira, we had about 62 millimeters as of this morning. Then when it reached the inland, in the interior of Mozambique, we had about 33 millimeters. To the eastern highlands, where the small belt was affecting, we had just about 14 millimeters in Chipinge. But this system is moving further southwards away from Zimbabwe, so we're expecting less in terms of rainfall as we get into tomorrow, where this tropical system should dry out the southern parts, giving us mostly sunny conditions over areas such as Matabeleland, South Masvingo, as well as southern parts of Manicaland. However, the same system is still forceful enough to draw moisture from the northern parts of Zimbabwe, Zambia to be specific, where we're expecting moisture to drift into the northern parts, covering areas such as Matabeleland North, all Mashonaland provinces, northern parts of the Midlands, Harare Metropolitan, and northern parts of Manicaland. We're expecting a few isolated showers over those areas, with a few localized downpours in areas.
Now, with the tropical storm on Zimbabwe's shores, should farmers be hopeful of more rains?
We are still expecting isolated occurrences of significant falls. As of this morning, we had areas in Mashonaland, for instance, Kotwe, recording about 29 millimeters of rainfall. To the eastern highlands, we still had significant falls in places such as Chipinge, which recorded about 14 millimeters. In Mkandi, we had 11 millimeters, as well as in Lotito, also in Mashonaland province, recording about 12 millimeters. This was because of moisture that is drifting in from Zambia into the northern parts of the country. And we're still expecting a bit of push from the west as well as the southern parts, giving us a few isolated incidents of significant falls in some areas.
Now, James, these are very notable shifts in weather patterns. How much of it can be attributed to climate change?
So whilst we are still monitoring the scenarios, we have to calculate for a 30-year period to speak of climate change. So right now what we're experiencing is what is called climate variability, where in some instances we get the El Nino phenomenon reducing the rainfall over much of southern Africa. It used to repeat on a 10-year cycle long back, then it reduced to 5 years. Now we get it even on a 2-year cycle. So there are changes in the climate in some instances, but the incidences where we get rainfall in 1 year and rainfall not in the other year are more of climate variability. So this coming year, we are expecting more of a La Nina season, where we expect more rainfall over the southern parts of the country, but we'll still keep monitoring and keep you informed as the season progresses.
Konapo Ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.